You know, sometimes it's really hard to believe that we are where we are today when you consider where we came from. But then again, we manifested it all. So we thank the Creator for His blessing, and also for besties in business. Yo, sit back, relax, and let yourself go with simply Naima and alter ego. These are trying times, so relax your mind. If you need some help, then drop us a line. We create a space where we can have good conversation, family, culture, business, race relations, giving birth to kings and queens. Manifesting wealth and things. 2020 came and tried to give us mad action with no satisfaction, and now we all distracted, but still gotta hold our own. Doing big boss shit, rockin' Nina Simone, a superstar in this compilation. Came to this universe to give you niggas motivation, but you still sleep, you niggas always on a vacation. But he's a creep, and that's the real life translation. You feel me?
I don't think they feel you, yo. We gon' get this bread and feed them till they full. Yup, we gon' get this bread and plant the seeds that really grow. We do it to build and not for likes or for show. Expand your network, your connections will grow. Thanking the Creator from where all our blessings flow. We are innovators and creators, multifaceted, talented, beautiful queens. Most of all, confident and conquering dreams. Besties, gang gang. Hello.
Hey.
Welcome back to another episode of the Besties Podcast. We have C Murder, Crystal of Go Beautiful. We have Simply Naima, Besties in Business, Dunbar, Ife House. We doing big things over there. And we have myself, Alter Ego. So we have some trailblazers today. I can't wait till you guys meet our guests. The first guest we have is a friend of mine since high school. Her name is Raushanah Deen-Hargrove. She's the fourth of 8 children. She attended Parkway Gamma High School. She received her bachelor's from Millersville University. Sociology was her major with an option in criminology. She also went on to complete her master's in business administration from the University of Phoenix. She's a member of the National Society of Leadership and Success. Raushanah is devoted to making a difference in Philadelphia and surrounding areas for boys and girls. She aims to employ structured recreational and educational programs, community activities, and family-oriented events and outings for the youth. Raushanah is a married mother of 3 children. She enjoys working with the youth while being a female figure giving back to her community. Raushanah believes that life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? Quoted by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Her motto to the youth is to work hard and dream big. If you believe it, you can achieve it. She is the founder of and CEO of Young Educated Athletes, the director of basketball operations for Team Action AAU. She's also the founder and CEO of When the Shero Comes Along, author, and she's a publisher of Sheroes in Silence. So let's welcome Miss Raushanah.
Welcome.
All right, our next guest is not here, but Naima is going to go ahead and just introduce her.
All right, so hopefully we'll have Miss Rajay Kennard join us later, but Rajay started Complicated Styles before she became a mom as a way to bring a new look to fashion. As someone who was big on shopping, she noticed that her style of fashion was never easily available and led her to the world of thrifting. Fast forward to now, where Complicated Styles is for those who are looking for thrifted styles without the thrifted part. Her business is for the individual who's looking to stand out from the crowd. Unlike the fashion industry, she wants to cater to women of all sizes and fashion styles. Not only are they taking over fashion, but also breaking into hair and skincare with their new product called The Stuff and their homemade and poured candles. After having just an online presence, they got lost in the boutique world and recently opened up a storefront in Plano, Texas, with the goal to have multiple locations across the world. So hopefully we'll have a chance to hear a little bit more about Rajay later because she's doing some great things.
Awesome. And Miss Crystal, you're going to introduce our third guest.
Our guest, from a young age, she has always loved creating, from painting to making doll clothes. As she got into her preteens, she had all these things in her head and wanted the world to see them and feel them. What started as fabric paint on tees and jeans blossomed into what is now ease, tees, and more.
And we have Miss Issa Diva Maven here. Yay, welcome guys.
Welcome.
So we're going to get started. We always start just asking you guys a little bit about your business. I do want to say that we do have a comment. Raushanah, Miss Kylie Ross said your resume is amazing. And a lot of our guests come on the show and they're so humble and they're like, oh my gosh, but you have an awesome resume. You guys are both out here really doing some big things. So don't be humble today when we ask you questions. Give yourself, your props that you deserve because you guys are out here working. So just tell us a little bit about your business and how you got started. Whoever wants to go first. All right, I'll call on somebody, Raushanah. Oh, we can't hear you. Wait, try to check the mic again. E, you go ahead and start while she's checking her mic.
Okay, can you hear me? Testing.
Yep,
Yes.
we can hear you. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, like you said in the bio part, at a very young age, I was always like super creative, always like painting, making clothes, drawing, coloring. I was an only child for 8 years, so that was like my main source of entertainment. And as I got older, I never really fit in, like in school with the other kids, and always felt like a misfit, like an outsider. And I guess because of that, like I would always have like these strange ideas, or well, to me at the time they were strange, and there really wasn't an outlet for all of these things that were going on in my head. So back then it was, like I said, it was fabric paint. Like fabric paint was a thing. So I would, write these things on shirts. And as I got older and started learning the art of like really screen printing t-shirts, that's kind of how everything happened. Once I started doing that, people would see what I was wearing and they found interest in it. And it just kind of rolled from there. I mean, and then it was like, I was just like literally making everything. So the and more is party decor, gift baskets, you name it, I do it. I'm that person that if you don't feel like making something, you call me and I'll make it. Like, and I love that. Like when I was younger, I said I wanted to be like the Black Martha Stewart, and by in no means am I there wealth wise, but in joy of creating and being able to do so many things. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that.
Raushanah, can we hear you now? Did you try to check the mic again like we did before? Okay. All right, so I'll just get started on the questions. Keep trying, Raushanah, because we need to hear what you have to say. So the first question is, what's been your biggest success in your business? E?
I'm thinking that's hard. That's a tough question. I mean, honestly, I would have to say, is this rated R? I mean,
yes, it can
is
be.
this broadcast rated R?
This is a safe space.
Yes.
Right.
Okay, good. Okay, good. So I would have to say the most successful part of my business has been my creation for the LGBTQ community, which when I first started, it really wasn't as capitalized as it is now. It was really hard to find clothing, accessories expressing the pride of who we are as a community. And the first shirt that I came out with was actually said gays pray too. I'm sorry. Um, the one following that was I'm pro pussy, which is a big statement. It's a huge statement. And it's not so much about being a lesbian, but it's about being a woman. Because at the end of the day, no matter what gender you are, whatever you label yourself as, we all came from that. So I would say those two shirts, along with other things that I've created with my community in mind, have been the most successful. And not only because they make big, powerful statements, but because they came at a time when Target and all of these other places that are now doing it just for money to capitalize on us, it came from a genuine place.
You see that a lot too. They're even doing the Black Lives Matter shirts. So Raushanah, we have you back. Tell us a little bit about how you got started, and then the first question we asked was, "What's been your biggest success in business?" And then we have a question from YouTube that you both can answer.
Okay, y'all can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was saying I got tired listening to you read my own resume. But how did I get started? Well, actually coming up on Black Friday with my organization, Young Educated Athletes, will be my 7th year anniversary. And it was kind of like my cousin, he was from West Philly or whatever, and he ended up getting a 4-year scholarship to Georgetown University. So I wanted to prove to like the youth that you can't just be athletic. You have to be educated and athletic at the same time. And you can be from not the suburbs and the inner city also and can make it somewhere. So he was able to go to Georgetown University on a 4-year scholarship. So that's kind of where the young educated athlete piece came from. And then I was just able to work. My program was just affordable for youth just to come as a safe haven. When schools is closed, we're open on like Black Friday, MLK Day. We do lessons on Black History Month, on President's Day. So whenever school was closed, we will open a program up for the students to come in versus them running the streets or in the house playing a video game. So that's how I got started with young educated athletes, and it's my 7-year anniversary for this coming up on Black Friday. But and then that's how I got connected with the travel basketball. So we was able to take the students to the youth to different colleges. We've been to North Carolina. We went and visited the Michael Jordan Hall, and we've been to Duke. So they was able to go to different places. Was able to take 70 kids out the city who probably would never make it out the city or out the state. So that's how the AAU travel started. And then with this pandemic here, I was able to build something positive from it. When Women's History Month was starting in March, it kind of made me, once they started last year, it kind of made me want to like expand on it. So with the when a Shero comes along, it just reminds me of women. All women have a story. So that's why with the sis stands for Sheroes in Silence. Every woman has a different story. Everybody has a story. So it's just like a lot of shared stories, and every woman have, different struggles that we all go through, no matter your race, color, age, or things like that. So I kind of wanted to start with that, and that's when I started in March with the whole when a Shero comes along with the different women and everybody get to share their stories, and it's kind of like a no judgment zone, kind of like this, and it was just something that I just thought where we use the hashtag her story. So that's kind of where I came with this pandemic, and we started like a book club. So with the whole virtual thing, I kind of got something positive out of this shutdown. So I kind of was grateful for that and building on that. And then we started like my Shero Fitness clothing line. So that's that for the 3 organizations.
Awesome. We can't hear you, Nye.
I'm sorry. She like those 3 organizations, but that's a lot.
It
And
is.
that's amazing. And I'm thinking about, just how intentional you were about, with COVID. You made like a good situation out of a bad one. So many people have been struggling in isolation and they just don't have no support. So
Right.
you just made an opportunity to still keep people connected, and keep the population and the women connected to something positive. So where people didn't have to look far, and that's important. So I applaud you for that.
Thank you.
So we have our own set of questions that we wanted to ask, but we're getting the questions from the audience. So I'm going to go with those first. So how have you navigated support for your businesses as a minority female from others? So that's the first question.
Navigated support. I mean, a lot of times for me, as far as with the youth organizations, well, the Shero explains for itself that it's women. With the youth organizations, I would get like a lot of inboxes or DMs saying like, "Yo, bro, like, what's up with the program? This, that, the third." Like, a lot of people assume that it's a man behind the program. So I went somewhere one day and they was like, "Oh, we're looking for, the CEO of Young Educated Athletes." And he was like, "Bro, something." I was like, "Well, I guess I'm bro." And he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." So it's kind of, I had a lot of that with the whole time, like when it comes to meet who was in charge of like the basketball piece, because that's kind of like a male dominated sport. So I dealt with that a lot. But now I see it's a lot of women um grants and things that they have coming out now. But the first couple of years, oh no, it was just kind of like I had to just fend for myself.
Mm-hmm. So you out here shattering ceilings, I see. Hey, do you remember the question? How did you navigate being a female minority business owner? Support? Did you get a lot of support?
Um, honestly, yes and no. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like a lot of my support came from women, but based on the fact early on, because I am a gay woman, so a lesbian, so I feel like a lot of my support came from that community. But as I went along and started expanding the brand, I feel like it was a little bit more difficult, because even though people think it's something as simple as making t-shirts, it used to be, especially screen printing, a very male dominated industry. So
Right.
even
Yeah.
though I was trained, I knew what I was doing, my prices were competitive, they would rather go to Rob, who had a print shop, over me. So that's why, that question it's a little iffy. So I feel like my backbone was, the gay community, but
Mm-hmm.
it was really hard trying to convince someone, hey, I can do the same thing that Rob can do and probably better, honestly.
Yeah, we have a double bubble, minority and female. So that's already two strikes. They're already looking at you like, are you able to do that? I remember being in Drexel when I was going for engineering, and like all the questions and all the examples would be related to things that were like strictly male. And I'm sitting there, probably was me and two other women, but they were white women. So I, at the end of the day, was still at the bottom of the totem pole, and you could feel it every day. You could feel it with every interaction. Kylie said, thank you both for answering. Naima, Crystal, you got some questions?
No, I just wanted to know, like Issa, like who really inspired, your creative work? Were you born with it? Or did you see something that really inspired you, or what, your artistic side, or what?
That's a good question. I feel like I was born with it. My grandmother was very much into fashion. She early on she did a lot of things, but she worked in retail and she would always do the windows, right?
Mm-hmm.
She was basically like the window display woman. And I remember being younger and, going to her job and just being fascinated with being around the clothes and, watching her do that. My mom was also a seamstress. and very creative and very artistic. She's the one that taught me how to sew. And I think a combination of them both, it really just came to me naturally. And also my sister, who is insanely talented, I feel like, it passed on to her also. So that's where it rooted from. And also I think too, a lot of there were a lot of like creative icons back then that I looked up to. Like, I'm an 80s baby, so like I was like obsessed with great.
She froze.
Can you guys hear me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Raushanah, you want to answer while we're waiting for her to come back?
Yes. So mine, I think, was a little bit of both. I think kind of like born with it, but at the same time, I did in high school. I know when we had to put what we wanted to be or something like that, I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I didn't know what kind of entrepreneur at that time because they didn't really teach us that in school. But I know what I wanted to do was be an entrepreneur. But at the same time, growing up, I watched my mom like to take care of all 8 of us, be like a strong woman where she had to start working due to kidney disease, and my dad was the only one working. So I watched my mom in a household where the motherly piece come from, be like a strong Black woman in the house. And then at the same time, my dad was kind of like a community person where with the basketball, he was a basketball coach. So I kind of watched him work with the community, and I never understood like why he would want to help these other people or these other kids. I didn't understand it as I'm watching it growing up, but as I got older, I understood why, because the feel that I have for it now and the relationships that I built with like a lot of my parents, especially my women parents, the stories and stuff that I hear, and I look at them like, no, they're looking at me like, oh, you're my Shero. I'm looking at them like, no, you're my Shero. So they kind of inspire me along the way also when I build these relationships, when I see like, working with their children and watching these moms. Some of the moms are single moms, some of them are, married, but still a struggle. But it's just like a lot of different stories. So again, these women becomes my Sheroes also.
Yeah, you definitely. I was thinking, when Khadija was going over your bio, like from what I remember about you, and even some work that I've done with your sister, like you guys are like a family of social workers, social activists, community stakeholder pioneers. Like it's been embedded in you all for like generations. I think that it's important for us to continue to install it, in our children. And that's exactly what it is that you're doing. You're modeling what we're shown, to your children, and they're going to follow and do some of the amazing things that you're doing as well. You said, Diva, you were talking about being an 80s baby, and I couldn't help but think about the movie Mannequin. And
my favorite.
That was one of my favorites too.
That's that movie.
Right. And you're talking about, the window dressings and the fashions, and like that was one of my favorites, so in that time, exactly, we did have some really good shows, I think, as ladies to kind of help us in that creative space. So the whole time I'm thinking about your grandmom and your mom. I'm like, gosh, it just reminds me of Mannequin.
We have another question from the audience before Crystal goes into her question. Since you have been in business for a good while, do you still experience the ebbs and flows in your businesses?
Am I starting? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, especially during the pandemic. I feel like now it's been more up and down, where normally throughout the year I know when my high times are going to be, I know when my low times are going to be. Summer is always extremely busy for me. Holidays are always extremely busy. Valentine's Day especially. This Valentine's Day was sad. I'm going to be honest. It was sad. So yes, I do experience them, but I think now what makes me different, let's say from 5 years ago, instead of me getting into a lull or going into a depression about it, now I say, okay, well, what else can I do? What can I do to turn this around? Is there a way to turn this around? I try to counteract it versus getting upset about it, especially with the climate that the world is in now, because I'm sorry, because now it's not just me as a business owner. It's so many other entrepreneurs that are having a hard time. But I think the key is to just keep going and not to give up.
Absolutely. Crystal or Raushanah, you have a comment?
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of like it does have the high. It has the high and lows, and I'm going to piggyback off of E. And what I have to do is I have to think, okay, what can I do different, or what can I do to try to make up for what was missed? Summer for me is summer camp for these 80 kids. And then now you got the kids in the house, you don't know what's going on. So now I try to do Zooms where we do Zooms and provide things where we check in with them. Like when we checked in, when we have like a lot of these things that's going on with, the whole Black Lives Matter, checking in and seeing how they feel. Because I don't know who's checking in on them, because you build so many close relationships with them. Like next Friday is normally our Black Friday camp where we had the parents drop them off. Parents get to go shopping. We'll have camp all day. They come back, pick them up after they go shopping. So, and then Christmas break, we have camp. Like all this stuff is now shut down where these children don't have the outlets no more. So it's kind of that's like a low for me, because I would just worry like, what are they doing instead of being here and hopefully still something positive. So I try to keep in touch with them and the parents during this time.
I listened to my daughter yesterday. Sometimes I ear hustle, when I'm in the kitchen in the morning. And, her teacher was doing a check-in, and a little boy was like, she was asking him, "Good morning, how are you?" And he was just like, "Yeah, I'm not good. It's not a good morning." She's like, "What? But you woke up. It is a good morning." And they're in 5th grade. So he's like, "Well, I was supposed to go, over my family house for Thanksgiving, and now I can't go." So he's all stressed out, about this quarantine, and about how he doesn't have the opportunity to like be with his folks, like that's real. I think that we need more resources to check in, on our young people at this time. And I don't think that we should leave it up to the school district to figure it out.
Yep.
Right.
But that's why it's so important that we have so many, I don't even want to call them grassroots organizations, but they really are that, just rooted in the community, with strong commitment, to community. But those resources should kind of be like available, and are available. And I'm appreciative to like check in on our young people. But they're affected by this too. Like they feel the stress that their parents feel about not having enough money. About, what we gonna do about the rent, food. Like they watch the news, they have access to social media. They know we got this crazy joker that don't want to leave the office. Like they feel and internalize all of it. So
and they're sitting at home with homeschool, and they're, it's a whole new environment with all this work going on. We have another comment, just so you know, you are inspiring for new entrepreneurs such as Miss Kylie Ross. So keep doing what you're doing, ladies. Crystal, you have some
question. Yeah. So you ladies have been in business for, a good minute. And you have seen the ups and downs of your business. You have seen your successes. You have seen your failures. So what is the one thing, you could maybe name two, but what is the one or two things that you wish you have known when you first started your business? I know. It's the humdinger. It's the humdinger. Oh, I wish I would have known this. I wish I would have known social media. I wish I would have known a millionaire. I wish I would have known a sugar daddy. I wish I would have known the governor. I wish I would have known the mayor. I know it's a lot. What is the one or two things that you wish you would have known when you first started your business?
Definitely a sugar daddy.
I'll say.
There it is. That's it. Two sugar daddies.
Mine was about money. I was definitely going to say, I wish I would have known that you just keep feeling broker until you start seeing anything. So it's kind of like, I wish I would have known that, it's not easy. It's like, it's a lot. And you have to really be like dedicated and committed to what you're doing, because every day I'll be like, why did you want to do this?
Right.
Like, why, like, even sometimes the day before I do the camps, I'll be because it's Thanksgiving. Like my Black Friday camp is the most stressful one for me. So it's Thanksgiving, everybody laughing, having fun, and I got a straight face like, oh, I gotta be at the gym at 7 o'clock.
Right.
But for 6 years, I did it. But
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, when you see all the kids and all the smiles on their faces, I feel good. But getting into it, I'll be like, why did you want to do this again? Every year I go into, I'm just not going to have it this year. I'm not going to have it. But every year I still have it because it's not about me. And that's the other thing. It's not about you. If you think it's about you, then you're not in it for the right reason. It's not about me, but I love, making it about other people.
Very good. E?
It may seem silly, but I think building up a certain clientele from the beginning, like a large fan base, if you could say, now we call them followers, but I would say finding a niche, like Khadijah always tells me, which is hard for me because I do so many things, but I think that, and also credit and finances.
Oh yeah.
Because when I started, I was just like, I'm going to get this money. Like everybody's like, I'm going to be super rich. And it was like, there's certain things financially I wish I would have known that I know now, especially like a business line of credit, filing your business taxes. Like there's a lot of things that are involved that sometimes when people get started, they're so, onto the money and getting your ideas and your products out there that you really don't take the time to say, hey, I need to learn bookkeeping.
Right.
I need to learn who I'm charging tax to. Like those are really small, important things that I wish I would have known from the beginning. But now there's so many more resources like to get that information.
Right.
We have some more questions from the audience. Is there one person, I don't know who this is, you have to allow access. So I'm just going to say Facebook user. They want to know, is there one person that has always been your biggest supporter? And then we have a question for you, Raushanah, after you guys answer that one.
One person?
Your biggest supporter.
Biggest supporter.
Don't get in trouble. So you got to name more than one.
Go with God. Go with God. Go with God.
Right?
If there's a whole lot, you always fall back on the Lord.
We don't want no trouble.
I would say it would be two. It would be my mom and my sister. If anything, I feel like it would be my sister, then my mom, which might sound a little strange, but my mom is so practical sometimes that she'll tell me no on something, and my sister will be like, "Go for it. That's popping. Do that, no matter what it is." So I would have to give it to my sister. But my mom is always going to support me no matter what I do. But sometimes, like, she's that logical, like, you sure about this? Like, that's a bit raunchy. And I'm like, Mom, it's what I want to say. But my sister's like, hey, I love it, do it. So I would say both of them. No, win or fail, like they're still right there behind me.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful.
So I would say I would have two, because I have like a lot of siblings. So it's kind of like, since we're kind of like close knit. So like my husband would be kind of like her mom, like, well, did you check the A, B, C, D cross E? And I'm like, and my sister's like, no, go ahead. I'm like, all right, I'm going. Because he's more of a, what you thinking? No, because at the end, if you do the negative and the positive and the pros and the cons, and at that point, I just don't be trying to think about all that. I just be just trying to go.
Yeah. But you need that, though. You need that balance.
You do.
Because that's what Naima is to me. Because I'm like, okay, so I want to give out 5 cars. I want to give out 5 laptops. Okay, hold on. Whoa.
I'll take one, please.
Yeah, I'm always, if you knew the thing that I'm trying to do, and they're like, okay, wait a minute, hold up.
Let's just for me, I'm like, we got to make financial sense. Like, yes, we want to the world, you know what I mean? But like, we can't save the world and like live in a box. So like, let's make it make sense. But I think that men are typically that way, Raushanah. Like, I'm that my brain goes from 0 to 100, and I'm always
Right.
just in my head, just
Yes.
like, hold up, like stop, like slow down, like let's think about this for a second. And one of my coworkers used to say I married my therapist. So most of the time, like when I'm giving Khadijah, is just I'm stealing it from him. Only because like 5 minutes ago, when I'm thinking I'm doing something big, like girl, slow down, wait a minute, because I just heard the same shit. You know what I'm saying?
Raushanah, Kylie said she runs a kids boot camp, and she wants to know if you had to turn a child away due to unruliness and fear of them rubbing off on others, or have you found a way to reach the child and keep them?
Oh, never. I get that every camp. I just feel like that's just a magnet for me. But because for before like what made me want to, first of all, I didn't want to work with children at all. I just not something I wanted to do. So this is just something that was called on for me to do. But at the camp, oh yeah, we have those, and they're the ones that I come, and they're the ones I feel like needs my attention. So I can't turn you away, or I can't say I feel as though they need some attention from me, even if I'm saying you come here, what's your name, and that makes them happy. Just that I'm giving them that little bit of attention, saying what's your name, where what you like to do, things like that. But I was a TSS worker, so I worked with like a therapeutic support staff. I work with different children with different type of problems, different needs, different things like that. So I think that kind of helped me along the way now, because you can't tell me I can't deal with any child,
Yeah.
anybody. It doesn't matter. But it seems like that's a magnet for me now. Like as far as when it comes to helping and disciplining and talking, I just feel like they need some type of attention. And me just pulling them to the side, they might not be getting it at home. Me just saying, "Oh, so what you like to do, or how was your day?" kind of makes a kid day. Even by just saying, I learned by just saying good morning.
Mm-hmm. What if you guys had a billboard, what would it say? A billboard about you, your business, your life, what would the billboard say?
Well, I'm still in it, but I use it. I got two though. I had 2 lines, maybe 3 lines.
All
Mine
right.
would be which my slogan that I love, work hard, dream big, is what I tell like the youth. And my other one is she needed a hero, so that's what she became, a Shero.
Okay. I like that.
Thanks.
Honestly, I think I would use my business name and my tagline, which is taking ordinary to extraordinary.
Mm-hmm.
Because that just sums it up. Like, I could put 1,000 sensational things. Like, I'm pro pussy would be great on a billboard, but
Mm-hmm.
um I would rather stick to the brand and
Mm-hmm.
let people find me and see what I can do for themselves.
That's good.
Crystal, you got a question? We're gonna ask 2 more questions, and then if nothing else comes in from the audience, we're gonna wrap up
And
and tell everybody how they can find you.
I don't know, you ladies might want to answer this one. You might, don't be ashamed, because we all here to learn, and also let other entrepreneurs like Kylie know that we all have successes and failures in our business. It's a learning curve, and even if a failure is also a learning experience for both of you. And I want E to go answer the question first, and then Raushanah, what has been your biggest failure and what has been your biggest success in your business?
I think the biggest failure was when I lost my studio space the first time, and I wasn't really prepared for it. You know, because sometimes, like, when things are rolling along, they're great. You don't always have a backup plan. It's smart
Mm-hmm.
to have one, but you don't always have one. And I
Right.
think when that happened, I was devastated. I was confused. I didn't know if I was going to have to quit. Um, but I would say that was the biggest failure, or the biggest letdown that I've had. The biggest success, that's hard because I'm so grateful for everything that, even the smallest things are like a huge success to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I think one year I did New York Pride, which is of course, well, some people might not know, but it's a huge celebration for the
I
LGBT
know.
community.
I'm hip.
Okay,
Yes.
well, not maybe some viewers don't know. So one year I went, and it was my biggest year financially, and I would just go, and I would put all of my stuff, t-shirts, all types of things that I had made in a shopping cart, and I would literally roll around the city and just sell my products. And it was so, I made so much money that year, and this year probably would have been the same if, the world wasn't shut down. But I think out of everything I've done, that was like my biggest success for the company.
Awesome.
I'll say a failure for me was, my problem is again like trying to save the world, and
Mm.
it's hard. So it's a lot of times when I do my camps, instead of like turning down the kids, I'll like have them come in, but it's like it'll become too much, and at the end of the day, I'll always be in a negative. But knowing that I was able to accept these children, but at the same time, they should have registered like everybody else. But I don't look at it like that. But it's like it started becoming too much for me. So then I
Right.
would kind of like be in a negative a lot. So that's kind of like where I felt as though I would fail in that area. Then I was able to say, do different camps, different days, and like expand it out where I'm able to accept everybody versus me ended up in a negative. As far as for the camp, although it's a nonprofit, but still,
Right.
um, I think my biggest success for me was, and this is, so when we used to have our camps, we would host them at West Catholic High School, and we
Mm-hmm.
would have like some of the basketball players, girls and boys, volunteer at the camp. And this is one girl, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the story, Akira Murray.
Mm-hmm.
She graduated from West Catholic, had a scholarship, basketball scholarship, and she graduated from West Catholic. She was down in Orlando, Florida. She was a part of that
Yeah.
massacre. She got
Yeah.
killed. So I started a scholarship in her name. So
Amazing.
basically, I would give a scholarship to help graduates, girls who play basketball at West Catholic that graduate, go on to school, a scholarship to help with whatever they want to spend it on. So we did that for, this year was my third year, so we had to do that virtually this year because the girl, she graduated, she went to Shaw University. So we had to go down there, do the whole mass thing. We'll come with the check where we normally have like a banquet. Her parents come every year. And every year, I promised the parents that we will honor their daughter name every year. Honor her daughter every year with this scholarship to students. So I've been doing that for 3 years now. So I feel as though me doing that scholarship and honor their daughter name, because I just couldn't imagine losing their daughter. She went down there just to celebrate graduating from high school, and she got killed in that massacre in the bathroom.
That's
Yeah.
hard. Now you have another question before we wrap up?
What's next? Ladies, what's next? What's next for your businesses? What's next for you, your personal growth? What's next?
You want to go,
Easy, you can go first, and then Raushanah, you can go.
Right.
No, I feel like I'm always first.
That's what I felt. I was like, E, you want to go?
Well, next up for me is my holiday shop. I'll be releasing all of my custom holiday items. I'm starting a little bit earlier this year because it seems like with everything going on, people are like really excited about Christmas. Like they're looking for that, something to
Right,
brighten up their days. So
right.
I'll be working on that. And I'm also working on a new website, which is long overdue. I love my website now, but it needs some work. So I'm working on that. And I'm actually for 2021 working on a nonprofit, which will incorporate a lot of the work I was already doing,
Mhm.
with the community, but it'll merge the two. So
Okay.
that's what's next for me. I'm just trying to stay excited with all the gloom and doom, that's going on in the world. Like just trying to stay focused and positive.
Before I want you to talk about the AIDS walk that you do every year too. I normally try to wrap up around 45, but I want to hear about that, and I think the people need to hear about that to make sure they can donate to you.
Oh,
And
yes.
yeah.
Yes, thank you. So this year was my ninth year of walking in AIDS Walk Philly. Um, Crystal, you and Khadijah, you donate. I'm so grateful. And every year I walk. Normally I have a whole team of people with me, but this year it was only virtual. So that's one of the things that I'm super passionate about. HIV and AIDS awareness, which most people, if you don't know, Philly is like one of the top cities where AIDS and HIV are running rampant.
Mhm.
So that's like a really important cause to me, and I use my platform of just not East T's clients, but people that have been following me for years, like since I was bartending, which was like 12 years ago. And all of these people just they donate, and they sponsor me, and it's for a great cause. I also normally I do a turkey drive every year, and I also do a holiday toy drive, which now I'm trying to figure out the logistics of how I can still like make it happen and help needy families. But normally the donations go to the Druding Center, which is in North Philadelphia, and that's basically a transition home for women and mothers who are coming from halfway homes, jail, just, homelessness, just a lot of, different situations. And we set up a holiday shop inside the center, and the moms can actually come to the shop, and pick out their own toys, which are all donated. We wrap them up and then they take them to give them to the children. So those are just a few causes that like I'm really like super passionate about. I also had started a mixed match sock drive. So I don't know if you guys have seen that yet, but basically I'm asking people, since you're home, you always lose one sock. And what do you wind up doing with it? You throw it away, right? But you know who doesn't care about mismatched socks? People that don't have any. So I've been
Mhm.
collecting donations from friends and supporters. Just just put them in a bag. Kids, adults, it doesn't matter as long as they're clean. And then we pair them up and give them out to those in need.
And how can they find you online? Your website?
They can find me East More on Instagram and on Facebook, East Teas and more. And my website is www.eastteasandmore.bigcartel.com.
Okay, Raushanah.
Next up for me, which is in editing right now, is my book, which is called Sheroes in Silence. So it's the acronym SIS. So that's where the 2K20 SIS come in. So it's basically short stories of different women on dealing with bravery, adversity, and heroic sacrifices. So it's like that's an editing now. So I'm thinking maybe 2021 that the book will be released for that. And also I'm like a big tights wear, like fitness. I like to work out. So, and I get tired of paying money for Nike and Adidas and expensive stuff. So now I'm coming out with my own Shero Fit. It's called Shero Fit fitness wear. So I'm coming out with that for the ladies. So other than that, that's about it.
And how can they find you? How can they get in touch with you about your book, your camp, and the
Um
share event?
As far as for Sheroes, if you're on Facebook, we have a Facebook group. We now have, well, since the pandemic, we have 301 women in that group. The group on Facebook is called When a Shero Comes Along. And then we have an Instagram page, which is at 2K20 underscore sis. And as far as for the athletics and the youth, That Instagram page is young_educated_athletes, and the email is rh@youngeducatedathletes.com. And for Sheroes, the email is 2020sheroes@gmail.com.
And the Facebook group is K3 Presents when the Shero comes along. So make sure you join the group. Make sure you shop with Ease Teas and more. Make sure you check out our website, bestiesbusiness.org. We offer social media marketing. We offer business consultation. We offer vision strategy sessions if you're thinking about starting a business. If you're having trouble with getting your business off the ground, we offer idea creation services, simple text filing. We offer a lot of services. Besties is a nonprofit, so we do have a membership that you can join. Joinbesties.com. We offer training. You can get advertising on our podcast, on our website, and we do group projects. Basically, our mission is group economics. We just believe that working together, we can get further. And that's about it. Thank you guys for joining the show. My mom said that you both are amazing, and she knows both of you. She also said that we're awesome hosts, which I agree. So thank you guys for joining. Make sure you shop with these ladies. Make sure you support the cause. Make sure you join Besties. Make sure you check us out. We have a lot of big things coming. And I appreciate you ladies for joining. Thank you.
Have a great evening, guys.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.